When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Welcome to Thoughts from a Page, a member of the Evergreen Podcasts Network. I'm Cindy Burnett, and I am so glad you're here. I personally select and read every book featured on the show so I can bring you thoughtful, spoiler-free author interviews. Whether you're deciding what to read next or looking for deeper insight after finishing a book, you're in the right place. I hope these conversations will enrich your reading life. In addition to the podcast, I write a monthly column, Buzz Reads, featuring my top 5 picks for each month, which is linked in the show notes. If you're looking for the best books to read this summer, don't miss my summer reading guide, also linked in the show notes. If you enjoy the show, rating and reviewing it on Apple or Spotify really helps new listeners find me. If you're looking to contribute to the show financially, you can support me on Patreon or with a one-time contribution on PayPal, Venmo, or Buy Me a Coffee. It takes a long time to grow a show, and I continue to find a larger audience thanks to you, my loyal listeners. I am so grateful. Today, Mary and Pamela join me to chat about their recommended reads for October through December of 2025. I say this every single time, but I added so many books to my list, not only to read, but also as gift book ideas. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Mary is the free-range virtual bookseller at large for Skylark Bookshop, an author liaison and scheduling producer for A Mighty Blaze. She is also a writer, grandmother, and chicken wrangler. She lives outside of Chicago with her husband and a menagerie of pets. Pamela has been a literary event planner since 2012. She enjoys attending and promoting literary events throughout the Twin Cities and beyond, and has been nicknamed the local literary fairy godmother. She is currently the literary event coordinator at Valley Bookseller in Stillwater, Minnesota, and the creator and host of the monthly literary program, Literature Lovers Night Out. I hope you enjoy our conversation and add many books to your TBR.
Wie wäre es, weniger Zeit mit dem Einkauf zu verbringen und dafür mehr Zeit für deine Lieblingspodcasts zu haben? Mit dem Rewe-Abholservice geht das. Bestell deinen Einkauf einfach online und hol ihn bequem und fertig gepackt im Markt ab. Natürlich ohne Mindestbestellwert. So bleibt dir mehr Zeit für die nächste Podcast-Folge oder deine Lieblingstracks. Jetzt ausprobieren auf rewe.de/shop oder in der Rewe-App. Dein Rewe-Abholservice. Online bestellen, im Markt abholen.
Welcome, Pamela and Mary. How are you two today?
I am very well, thank you. It's wonderful to be back with you and Mary to talk about our favorite subject, books.
And I am very excited to be here. What a lineup of fall titles we have to talk about.
As usual, Mary and I had to argue over who gets to talk about what, but we are going to be generous and share.
So nice of you both. Well, I always know it's time to have you back on when people start asking me, when are Pamela and Mary coming again? And then I'm like, oh, it's time to get them scheduled.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you two have coming up in the next few months?
I am very excited. In October, Valley Bookseller is partnering with Modern Well, which is a gorgeous women's cooperative workspace and wellness center here in Minneapolis. And we are going to be presenting Zoe Francois and her newest cookbook, Zoe Bakes Cookies. Perfect for the upcoming holiday season when you know you're going to be wanting to make cookies. And she'll be there. We'll have cookbooks for sale, and they will have her original cookbook as well. Signed cookbooks are such a fabulous holiday gift. And having her there talking about the book and the recipes you like It's going to be a real treat. I am partial to Zoe's Carmelita bars. They are so rich, yummy, and gooey, and you really can't go wrong. They're a definite crowd pleaser. So if you go to either the Modern Well website, Valley Bookseller website, or my Literature Lovers Night Out website, there are ticket links there, and all the tickets include a signed copy of the book. So that is going to be on October 23rd at Modern Well.
And I'm assuming people can order personalized books and have them shipped to them if they can't make the event.
They most certainly can.
Perfect.
And Pamela, I have to ask, will you be baking those bars for the event?
I think that Zoe is doing her own baking and bringing some samples that evening. We're lucky she's local here in the Twin Cities area, so she can do that.
Another benefit of a cookbook author, they bring samples.
Exactly.
I know, sounds yum. Mary, what about you?
So I am in full gift giving mode. When I hit kind of mid-September is when I start thinking about holiday gifts. And one of my best gift suggestions is the Skylark book subscription. This is the perfect gift for readers of all ages, from newborns to, Uncle George, that you never know what to get. You talk to the Skylark booksellers. You tell them a little bit about the person that you want to give this subscription to. You can choose a 3-month, a 6-month, a 12-month gift subscription. And each month, Skylark booksellers will get together and hand select a title that will be perfect for your recipient. It is the gift that keeps on giving, and it's such a treat for any reader to receive a gift that's chosen for them each month and something new to read.
That is a wonderful gift. And to know that you're getting a little surprise every month, that's fabulous.
Especially one that's been hand-selected for you and it's a book.
Exactly. Mary, what's that book that's coming out next spring about the husband who dies and leaves a special book for his wife every month?
The title is This Book Made Me Think of You, and it is one of my, just made my heart explode and break and put it together again. It is a beautiful book and one of my most anticipated titles, as I'm sure it is for both of you.
It definitely is. It's going to be one of the ones that I buy in bulk to give as gifts.
I loved her last book, and I was super excited for this one, so I can't wait to read it. I have it, but I haven't read it yet.
Oh, dig in. Yeah, the Lido was fabulous. And I think they retitled it then here in the United States because people didn't know what a Lido was. It's an outdoor open-air pool, but it's more commonly called that in Britain than in the United States.
I think it was either Mornings or Afternoons with Rosemary. It came out as the Lido in hardback, and then I think they retitled it in paperback. But such a wonderful book.
It is, but that's Libby Page, so people can look it up, Page.
Exactly. Well, let's dive into the fall titles. Mary, you have a few more, so why don't you start?
So I am happy to start off with my first title, which is Bog Queen by Anna North. This book blew me away. I forced myself to slow down because I found it so fascinating. It is dual timeline. It takes place when a body is found in a bog in northwest England. And this body was buried more than 2,000 years ago and is completely preserved. So you have an American forensic anthropologist who's called to investigate. So you have that point of view, that timeline. And then you go back to when this woman who was found in the bog was alive, and you have her timeline. And then you have a third point of view from the bog itself. And those are short little interspersed chapters that I found just delightful and fascinating. The story there's some mystery to it. It's got a little bit of a thriller feel, and it was so informative. I learned so much about forensic anthropology, about the preservation of the bogs and why it's important to preserve them, and then how they kept these buried people in such pristine condition. This book had a little bit of everything. It is a perfect title for any reader. I just loved it.
I'm with you, Mary. I thought it was absolutely gripping. The forensic archaeologist chapters held me spellbound. I thought that was fascinating. I really liked the characters. I liked going back and forth in the time period. I thought it was really fascinating. Just a wonderful, wonderful novel and something kind of fresh and new.
I'm going to have to add that one to my list.
You definitely should.
So, Pamela, what's up first for you?
I am going to discuss The Missing Pages by Alyson Richman. This is one that bibliophiles are going to be very eager to get their hands on. You've got a ghost, you've got a library, and you've got a story that's just waiting to be told. To go back to 1912, and Harry Widener, I hope I'm pronouncing it right because he's a real person. He is a passionate book collector, and he gets on the Titanic. So you know what to anticipate there. After the catastrophe and the ship is sinking, he goes back to his room to presumably collect this very special book that he's transporting, and he and the book are never seen again. Many decades later, his mother has created the Harry Elkins Widener Memorial Library at Harvard University. This is a real place where you can go, but our fictional character, Violet Hutchins, is working in the library when she begins to experience mysterious phenomenon. And she comes to realize that Harry's ghost might be trying to communicate with her to uncover a very long buried secret that Harry took to the grave with him. Fans of Midnight Library, The Book Thief, are going to be enchanted with this. It's got a love story. Of course, it's got the ghost story. And of course, this incredible tribute to the love of book collecting. And it's going to sweep you away. It is just a gorgeous story, great for book clubs. And that comes out in October, The Missing Pages, Alyson Richman. If you can't even wait a couple of weeks to get your hands on something by Alyson, pick up a copy of The Timekeepers. And that is very different, equally wonderful. And Alyson's a great writer, and I look forward to more books from her.
I hate and love when Pamela has titles that are on her list that I have not gotten to, because I love that we have such, a varied podcast, but I hate the fact that my TBR is now growing because this is something I absolutely have to read.
Well, that's a rare occurrence, Mary, because you always get to things before I do.
I loved this one. It was an October Buzz Reads pick for me. I thought it was phenomenal. All of that detail about the library at Harvard, she just creates such a strong sense of place. And all the things about books. Anybody who loves books will love this one.
I agree. What's next for you, Mary?
Next, I have a title by an author that is just an automatic read for me, and that is Heart the Lover by Lily King. I absolutely am assured that I'm going to love every page of Lily King's books. That I have found this to be true. Her writing style is just so voice-driven. I can hear the characters. I can see the characters. And I get such a sense of place. And in Heart the Lover, you have a love triangle. You have a woman who, her senior year of college, she meets two star students from her 17th century lit class. They're best friends. She starts a relationship with one and then ends up with the other. There's a lot of complicating factors. It is a passionate love story with, just the way decisions we make at one point in our life carry through our entire lives and relationships after. This is a moving love story that celebrates literature and forgiveness and the transformative bonds that shape our lives. I did not want this book to end, and it's one of those, and this does not happen often for me, but I wish I could read it again for the first time.
This is one of those books that I got a sampler chapter when we were at the winter convention last winter in February, and I somehow never got a full copy of the book. And I love Lily King. So I'm really hoping that it's on our Libro FM ACLs or something so that I can listen to it.
I've been seeing such great things about it, so I'm glad to hear you liked it.
Loved it.
Well, my next book is the third part of a trilogy and the final act in Shannon Bowring's incredible books about rural Maine. The first book was called The Road to Dalton. The second is Where the Forest Meets the River. And coming in October will be the final chapter, In a Distant Valley. This takes us to a small town in rural Maine. It may not have the glamour and excitement of the big city, but these characters lead vast lives that make an incredible story of rural America that people, I think, will wholeheartedly identify with. It's a little Peyton Place there, only much better written and with better characters. But take a visit to Dalton, and your life is going to be so much richer for having made the trip. In this final installment, some of the characters think their lives are going along finally on a track that they like when people from their past rear their ugly heads and come to bring trouble back to their doorstep. And the whole town becomes involved in this chain of events that are somehow beyond their control and will decide all of their futures. This is a really stunning conclusion to the trilogy. And Shannon Bowring's a young writer. She's a remarkable writer. When she finishes this trilogy now, I certainly hope she goes on to more things because this is a beautiful set of books and they come out as paperback originals. So what a great holiday gift. And most of the books run at around, high 200, low 300 page count. So really a nice, easily digestible book. So pick up The Road to Dalton and then Where the Forest Meets the River so that you're ready for number 3, In a Distant Valley. They're all published by Europa Editions and they're absolutely gorgeous.
There's something about a story set in small town Maine that is somehow different than small town anywhere else. And I'm so drawn to the people that are there and just everything about those small town Maine books are so attractive to me.
Well, this is a winner.
And I've heard nothing but great things about these as well. And I love that idea of just giving the trilogy as a gift.
It is make a wonderful holiday gift or birthday.
Absolutely. All right, Mary, what's up next for you?
Okay, next I do not say this lightly, I think this may be one of our greatest living writers out there right now. It is A Guardian and a Thief by Megha Mujumdar. Megha Mujumdar's debut novel was A Burning, and that book haunted me for months after reading it. Her books are set in India. This book, A Guardian and a Thief, is set in a near future Calcutta, beset by flooding and famine. They are, feeling the effects of climate change. And a woman and her 2-year-old daughter and her elderly father are days away from leaving this collapsing city behind to join her husband in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They finally get their visas, they pack their bags, and they are ready to go. But the morning they are due to leave, they awaken to discover that Ma's purse with all of their documents has been stolen. This is set over the course of a week. It tells 2 stories, the story of Ma and her frantic search for the thief, while also trying to keep hunger at bay during this food shortage. And, that's one of the reasons they want to leave. And then there's the story of Boomba, the thief, who's desperate just to care for his family. And that causes him to commit a series of escalating crimes. And these 2 people come together in an explosive culmination of their stories. And the way their stories collide, Megha, her writing is stunning. It is visual. Every word is placed meticulously. Her books are not long, but they're so packed. Not one word is wasted. Every word is there for a reason. And I think part of what I absolutely love and respect about her writing is she does not end her books with nice little tidy endings. Her endings are raw, they are visceral, and they are complicated. And that is certainly the case with A Guardian and a Thief.
We had a sales meeting here last night, and the sales reps were absolutely raving about this book. And I have a copy, had not yet got to it, but it's definitely going to get bumped up the list after all that enthusiasm.
I am so excited for this one as well. It was just pitched to me a week ago, and I have a copy on its way. And then I recorded my real-time reading with Kelly Hooker, and she too was raving about it. So I feel like this is one of those that's really going to hit with readers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be popular in the way that Abraham Verghese, had such a hit with The Covenant of Water.
Absolutely. Although this one is much shorter than that. So, yes.
It'll be an easier one for people to pick up in terms of the shortness, not necessarily the content.
Well, I'm going to take you to Ireland with my next selection. It is called Let Me Go Mad in My Own Way by Elaine Feeney. This was my first introduction to her work, but she's a very big deal in Ireland and across the world. She was nominated for the Booker Award for her last book, How to Build a Boat. This time she returns to Western Ireland in a multi-generational family story about a young woman who has left her town behind. And then her mother dies and her father's diagnosed with cancer. So she decides she will return to care for him. And then when she gets there, the pandemic follows. So she spends much more time there than she had anticipated. And then when her lost love from London unexpectedly shows up nearby, all kinds of conflicts arise, forcing Claire and the rest of her family to deal with a lot of the history that had been put behind them. Past is prologue in this one, and it is just an exceptional novel of family, of history, of love. This return to a hometown brings revelations of a dark past. And this is a novel that you will want to spend time savoring and contemplating these characters and the experiences that they've had and how generational trauma is descended upon future generations. It's a short novel, but it really packs the punch.
I love the title.
I thought that was an enticing title as well when I opened up my mail one day, and I immediately set that aside just because I liked the title as well.
And that is another one I have not yet read, but now I'm going to have to move it up on my TBR.
Oh, good. Mission accomplished. What's next for you, Mary?
Next, I have a set in the 1950s. I felt like I was watching, one of those perfect 1950s family TV shows as I was reading this. You have Lulu Mayfield, who her only purpose is to have this perfect household. 1950s, she's molded herself into the perfect housewife. Her Jell-O salads are the hit of the neighborhood, and every time there's a gathering, it's expected that she will bring one. The house is tidy, she's made up beautifully, but all of a sudden, something happens after the birth of her second child, and her world begins to unravel. And that's where this novel took on a very Hitchcock feel for me, where you're not sure, is she losing her mind, or is the rest of the world just trying to make her think she's losing her mind? People are starting to question her. She's not as made up the way she usually is. Things are falling apart at home. The neighbors are starting to wonder about her, but she's starting to wonder about her neighbor, who seems to have a lot more going on than the front she puts up. And now you have a lot of back and forth in whether or not she's losing her mind, or is the neighbor, something really happened there. Her husband starts to suspect. It really has a lot, like I said, that Hitchcock feel to it, until finally she is forced into a home for the unwell women. And yeah, this is a great kind of quiet thriller that I really enjoyed.
Oh my gosh, when I opened my mail and I saw that title, I started reading it that evening as well. You're right, it is. It does have a Hitchcockian feel to it. Is she being gaslit? Is she really losing her mind? What's happening? It was riveting.
Megan Church has a great way of writing, and the cover of The Mad Wife, it has that perfect housewife with the little apron and then just a black box over her eyes, which absolutely, between the title and the cover, drew me in immediately.
Oh yeah, I thought the cover art was just really pitch perfect for the title.
I was going to say, they really chose such a perfect title and cover for that one.
They did indeed. I'm going to move into November now with my next selection, which is titled Where He Left Her by Nicole Baart. Nicole is a very prolific author, and she's kind of moved into a little bit of suspense lately. This one starts out at a really high level of intensity, and it never lets up. If you are a fan of a book, say, like Laura Dave's The Last Thing He Told Me, you are really going to like this one. Nicole starts out in the Cascade Mountains, where a young wife and her husband have gone back to his old family homestead and set up a home. And he goes off, and she's there by herself, and she starts hearing things, and they have cameras set up all over on this big expanse of ground. And she finds out that there are two young teen boys that are kind of trying to hide out in one of the outbuildings. And because the weather is very extreme and she's concerned about what's going on, she goes out to see what is happening. And she finds out that these two boys have taken shelter from a very traumatic experience. And she's torn between, will she be safe if she helps them? And how can she not help these two vulnerable young boys? And it is a pulse-pounding read. Nicole is really on fire with this one. If you are a suspense reader, this is the book that you want for November. I also think it would make a great holiday gift for both men and women. She has got a real knack for domestic suspense. And this one, I think, is going to be her best yet. It is really a gripping, page-turning, propulsive kind of suspense novel that you are going to probably want to inhale in just one sitting. And that, again, is called Where He Left Her by Nicole Baart, Baart.
So dark and atmospheric. Oh,
It is.
absolutely great.
I can't even imagine finding two people roaming around on my property if I were home all by myself, that I would even then go out there and talk to them. Woo.
I know. I was talking to the characters I was reading. Don't do it.
Such a great book. I have next a nonfiction that is proof positive that truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. And that is Family of Spies by Kuehn. And this is coming out in November. This would be a phenomenal gift for a historian, true crime fans. I don't know anybody who wouldn't enjoy this. World War II, anybody who's interested in that. This was fascinating. And it starts out with, what if one letter changed everything you thought you knew about your family? So it began with a call from a screenwriter asking the author, Christine, he wanted to know about her family and their involvement in Pearl Harbor. And she was completely shocked and confused. No, she thought they had the wrong person. No, they kind of went through with, this is, your family, and we have found some things out. So she asked her 70-year-old father, Eberhard, what this could be about. And he stalled, he deflected, he demurred, and then he wept. They were once a prominent Berlin family. They saw the rise of the Nazis as their way out of hard times. The daughter of the family, Christine's Aunt Ruth, met Nazi leader Joseph Goebbels at a party, and the two hit it off, and they had an affair. Again, I cannot imagine finding out that these things took place within your own family and family members that were still living. But Ruth had a secret. She was half Jewish, and that would have had her set to be killed. But instead, Goebbels insisted that the entire family be sent to Hawaii to work as spies. There, her grandparents and her aunt established this intricate spy operation from their home, which the government kind of knew what was going on. I still can't believe. And as I was reading this, I kept looking at my husband going, you won't believe this. I mean, how did they not stop them? They didn't quite have enough information to stop them. But before they knew it, this family had helped orchestrate the attack on Pearl Harbor. I read this story. I immediately told Pamela about it. She had a copy. She read it. And I think she'll back me up when I say this is a book you absolutely not only have to read, but you're going to want to buy 2 copies because you are going to know somebody else that absolutely has to read this story as well.
Oh my gosh, between your enthusiasm and my sales rep's enthusiasm, I got on this book right away. It is just jaw-dropping. You cannot believe that this even happened. And I agree, Mary, what a great holiday gift or birthday gift for men, women, anybody. Certainly, I think even high school students would be fascinated by this work of incredible nonfiction. It really is just mind-boggling that this all transpired.
I sat in on an event many months ago about nonfiction coming out this fall, and she spoke about this book. And at the time, I thought, oh, that sounds fabulous. She even teared up. I mean, after all this time, I'm sure it's such an emotional, personal, and somewhat at times horrifying story for her. And then it kind of rolled off my list, and somebody brought it up to me recently, and I'm like, oh, I never got a copy of that. So I just got a copy, and I cannot wait to read it.
I'll start tonight.
I will. It will be next up for me.
Well, apparently November is suspense month for me because I've got another exciting title for you called The Bird Watcher by Jacquelyn Mitchard. She is one of our Midwestern heroines here. You may remember her from her novel, The Deep End of the Ocean, which was the very first selection for the Oprah Winfrey Book Club. She is a prolific writer and she has done so well. We sell her like crazy. And I have very high hopes for The Bird Watcher. This is such an exciting courtroom drama about a murder that tests a friendship. And in the hands of a skilled writer like Jacquelyn Mitchard, readers are going to be immersed and not want to come up for air until the very end of this. She takes our protagonist, Renee, who's working at a fashion magazine, but she dreams of being a journalist for more meaty type writing and stories. One of her former high school friends has turned out to become a high-end call girl, and she's been charged with murder. Renee jumps at the opportunity to finally get her hands on a story that really might attract some attention. And she reconnects with Felicity and wants to cover the subsequent trial. But she can't figure out what's happened. Felicity was a promising student. She was a smart girl. She went off to college. Why did she become a call girl? And why did she murder 2 of her clients? Well, Renee keeps searching for answers. And this is the most intriguing part of the story. Felicity at one point is being led away in handcuffs and whispers to Renee, "I may not be innocent, but I'm innocent of this." And both Renee and readers are going to be consumed by what actually is going on. Each chapter gives you a little bit of information about a different type of bird. This will play into the novel. Really a clever premise, smart writing, a sophisticated plot, and 2 really strong women characters who are on the search for the truth. So I think that Jacquelyn Mitchard is going to hit the bestseller list again with The Bird Watcher in November.
I love books that take such different aspects and weave them together into a story. And this one, I've said this how many times already, this podcast, but this one's going to the very top of my TBR because it sounds fascinating. Birds, high-end call girl, murders, and that line is perfect.
It was. It certainly intrigued me, and I was already caught up in the novel.
I'm excited to read that one as well.
Well, my next book is another November release. This is The Dinner Party by Viola van der Sandt. And this is a dark and haunting and propulsive story that's told over the course of a dinner party, from its very careful preparation to its explosive, irrevocable finish. Franca left the Netherlands to start her new life in England with Andrew. Andrew's parents gave them a flat to stay in. Andrew's an old-fashioned British gentleman who wants Franca to work on her writing instead of working outside the home. And he suggests a dinner party with his colleagues to celebrate their big upcoming launch. This is a party that Franca needs to plan, and she's got to shop, and she needs to clean and spend hours and hours cooking, the perfect meal. It's a dinner party that happens during a heat wave, and then the fridge breaks, alcohol replaces water, and an unexpected guest joins their ranks, which upends this perfect, careful balance between everything that Franca once was and is now. This was such a dark, that something terrible has happened. And as you're hearing her recount what led up to this through this entire dinner party, I could not leave my chair. I did not want to put this down for a second. I had to see it straight through to the end. And I think this would make a wonderful book club discussion book.
I've been pitched this one a couple of times. I just wondered if it was a little too dark for me, but I always love the idea of a dinner party and things going awry.
I know you don't like dark, Cindy, but it's not graphic dark. It's emotionally dark. And I think that you would enjoy it because of that.
Okay, that's good to know.
I don't even think it's that dark. I just think it's kind of thought-provoking dark.
Okay, good. Well, I may have to bump it up the list.
Well, my last book of November is my final offering of suspense, The Bridesmaid by Kate Quinn. She had a hit with The Clinic earlier. This time, she's inviting you to the wedding from hell. It may be the most extravagant nuptials ever planned, but dead bridesmaids do tend to put a damper on the festivities. And Kate Quinn has got a wedding party that gives new meaning to the term mean girls. Put a brilliant forensic investigator on the case, and you have got a page turner here. So I think you can start casting the big screen version of The Bridesmaid. It definitely would lend itself to a wonderful Netflix series. In this one, a celebrity bridesmaid gets murdered at very close to the actual society wedding date. And when forensic attorney Holly Stone turns up, she becomes drafted as a very unlikely undercover replacement for the bridesmaid. And as she works to uncover all the secrets of this private Kensington family and the bridezilla herself, she finds out that beneath this veneer of sophistication and glamour, the Kensington family have secrets that are very much worth killing for. And as the wedding day gets closer and closer, it is very clear that one of the bridesmaids has committed murder, and the destination wedding is going to be the perfect place for the killer to take his next victim. This one is really exciting, and it's got a simultaneous hardcover and paperback release. So book clubs might enjoy it as a paperback that they can all easily afford. And it's just a really fun page-turning work of suspense from Kate Quinn, and that is The Bridesmaid in November.
It seems to have White Lotus, Real Housewives feel to it that absolutely, I agree, it's made for the big screen.
It is so much fun of people behaving badly.
And this is an aside, but I had never connected her name with the other Kate Quinn. Like until hearing it, I was like, Kate Quinn. And then I looked to see how it was spelled with the C versus a K. And I never thought about them having the same name.
Yeah, Kate Quinn, Kate with Kate. She writes incredible historical fiction a lot around World War II. This is Kate Quinn, the suspense novelist.
Yeah, that's nice to make the distinction.
Yes.
We are going to stay with people behaving badly with Best Offer Wins by Marisa Kashino. This, oh my gosh, the cover pulled me in when I started reading the back. So we live in kind of a micro housing situation here outside Chicago where for years it has been almost impossible to purchase a house. The minute houses go on the market, even beforehand, people are knocking on doors. Every house for the past 5 years that's gone on the market has sold for above asking within just a couple of days, and people get desperate. They do crazy things. So when I saw this book, I thought it could have been written for this area, but this is set in Washington, D.C., in another insanely competitive housing market. There's a desperate woman. She orchestrated the sale of their smaller home. They moved in an apartment in anticipation of saving the money to buy their perfect house so that they could start trying to have a family. But when the housing market explodes the way it has, it is the same situation. Every house they go for, they are outbid by tens of thousands of dollars. And this woman, a 37-year-old publicist, becomes increasingly desperate. She's getting up there in age. She knows she has to have a child soon. She's not having a child in this cramped little apartment. She's got to find this house. You start reading and you think, okay, this makes sense. She's just really desperate to get a house. It soon becomes clear that she is unhinged, and the lengths she goes to get the house of her dreams is just jaw-dropping. This is a wild ride. I enjoyed it very much. It's one of those main characters that I know people said they were really rooting for her, even though she's awful. I don't know that I was ever rooting for her, but I really did enjoy reading the lengths she'd go to get her house and then how things fall apart, and yet she doesn't give up. I loved this so much that I gave it to my best friend who's a realtor. And I said, tell me if this isn't a little too close to home for what you have to deal with. She said she is going to recommend this to everyone in her entire real estate office, that she knows that everyone there is going to enjoy it. Best Offer Wins by Marisa Kashino.
It was fantastic. Absolutely laugh out loud black comedy. I mean, who doesn't love a good psychopath? And when the publisher sent me 4 copies that all arrived on the same day, and I thought, gosh, somebody really thinks I'm going to enjoy this book. And they were right. I started reading right away. So much fun. I was so happy to share all the extra copies with my colleagues at Valley Bookseller. It is just a page-turning delight. And you're right. I was not rooting for her to win, but I certainly was compelled to see what she was going to do next.
I just received this one, not 4 copies, just 1, but also on Libro or maybe on Google Play, however Macmillan does their audiobooks. So I am so excited for it because I feel like there aren't that many thrillers with really unique premises, and this seems like one.
It is. You'll probably have to read it in one sitting because you really have to see what she's going to do next.
I'm excited.
Well, I'm ready for December, and I'm going to give you a touch of magical realism this time. Phaedra Patrick is a British novelist who writes really warm, wonderful novels with warm and wonderful characters. And she's back this time with the Time Hop Coffee Shop. This time, you're going to want to pour yourself a nice cup of Java, and it's like meeting up with an old friend. This one time, she's conjured up this fantastically fun alternative universe that only requires a delicious cup of magical coffee to enter this world. We have a character who is the former star of the Maple Gold coffee commercials, and she and her husband and child live this idyllic TV life in make-believe town of Mapleville. And her life now is kind of falling apart, and she yearns for those days when everything was cast in the golden aura of the TV commercial. And now Greta Perks is on the rocks. She's not happy. One day, she meets this mysterious older woman who claims to have a jar of magical coffee. And the next thing she knows, she's able to wake up in the make-believe town of Mapleville, where the sun always shines and things are always happy. But can she live her life in a coffee commercial, or will reality intrude? And what happens if you get stuck in a perfect world forever? I think that fans of warm, friendly books that you can give to anybody are going to really enjoy the Time Hop Coffee Shop or all of Phaedra Patrick's novels. I have read all of them, I believe, and I have just enjoyed them immensely. They're wonderful for gift giving, the perfect gift to give to your teacher, aunt, grandmother. Even young people, I think, would enjoy them as well. She's a really charming writer, and this one is an absolute pure delight. So hop on into the Time Hop Coffee Shop.
I agree across the board. Phaedra is, I call her books a hug for the heart, because I truly, when I'm done reading them, I just kind of hold them up. They're such a beautiful, lovely, light palette cleanser, not just for in between heavier books, but for life itself. It's a beautiful escape, and I'm just such a huge fan of hers.
I am too, and I had the pleasure of hosting Phaedra many years ago with her first and second novels, and she's just a fabulous woman, and I'm so happy to see her getting the success that she deserves.
Me too.
Have you guys read Before the Coffee Gets Cold in that series?
I have not.
That's interesting. Kind of the same premise of drinking a cup of coffee and it taking you somewhere. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I know it sells really well.
They're really very, very good. All right, Mary, what's up for you?
I am still in November, and this time it's with Next Time Will Be Our Turn by Jessie Q. Sutanto. And in this one, a grandmother tells her granddaughter about her twisty and surprising journey to who she is now in this beautiful, sweeping love story. And it starts with Izzy Chen, who is dreading her family's annual Chinese New Year celebration, where everyone comes together to this fancy restaurant to flaunt their status and try to one-up each other with who's doing the best. So when her 73-year-old glamorous and formidable grandmother walks in with a stunning woman on her arm and kisses her in front of everyone, it shakes Izzy to her core, because Izzy has always thought that she was the black sheep of the family for harboring similar feelings to the ones her grandmother just displayed. And seeing herself in her granddaughter's struggles with identity and acceptance, Magnolia tells her granddaughter her own story of how, as a teen, she was sent from Jakarta to LA for her education and how she fell in love with someone who was forbidden to her, both by society and her own culture. So this is a beautiful, beautiful coming of age story of love and acceptance. Next time will be our turn.
I just got pitched a new book by her that's coming out in the spring. She really manages to write quality books and write them quickly.
That's impressive.
All right, Pamela, is this your last one?
This is my last one, and I am going to end my December recommendations with a work of nonfiction called Every Day I Read by Hwang Bo-rim. And I hope I am pronouncing that right. She is a Korean author, and she had great success with an earlier novel called Welcome to the Ayeonnam Dong Bookshop. Again, I apologize if you speak Korean and I am mispronouncing it. But it was an absolutely joy-filled book about a bookshop where people can go to learn about how to truly live. It was a heartwarming story about finding acceptance in your life and a reminder that it's never too late to start again and find a new plot for your own life. It was a beautiful novel that booksellers really embraced. This one is a work of nonfiction about why we read, whether it's to relax, to connect, to educate, to reflect. Whatever reason it is that you enjoy reading, this is a tribute to the literary life. Embrace what you choose to read. Be proud of what you choose to read, no matter what it is. Fiction, graphic novels, the newspaper. This book is just a wonderful gift for those of us who enjoy reading and its pleasures. The author gives us expansive questions about ourselves and our relationship to books. She recommends titles in each short chapter, which is lovely. It's a book you can pick up and put down. And she goes beyond the usual questions of just what to read and how often. And she explores the relationship between reading and writing, about how books become a bestseller, about how to browse at your corner bookstore, and the value of reading outside of some of your favorite genres and exposing yourself to new titles. So Every Day I Read, it's a wonderful gift book for your friends and family members who are bibliophiles. It's a great way to take a few minutes for introspection and reflection and to encourage book lovers to explore what reading really means to each of us. This is a book about books and about the reading life, and really a book that bibliophiles will treasure.
It is such a lovely book. And the first thing I thought of was to get a few copies to give as hostess gifts over the holidays. You know, I have decided over the past few years that books make the best hostess gifts, that, you know, not everybody drinks, so wine's not always appropriate. Whenever I try to give my daughter flowers, she reminds me that her cat eats them and will get sick. So that doesn't work for everybody. But a book like this, I think, is perfect if you are showing up to a holiday party with this wrapped up. It's something that the recipient is going to hang on to for a long time and remember who gave it to them and why.
It does. That's a great idea to make it a hostess gift. The other nice thing about this book is you can either choose to hang on to it and treasure it, or it's a fun one to continue to pass along to other book lovers, or just buy a dozen copies and pass them out to all the book lovers that you know, because it really is a book that I think would appeal to so many readers.
You both beat me to it, but I was just going to say this sounds like a great gift for people who love to read.
It is indeed. And it's a nice little sized.
It is. It's very pretty.
Oh, that's always nice too. Well, I know, Mary, you have two more. So do you want to do those real quick?
I do, and I do. My first one is for fans of Mary Roach or Cy Montgomery. For anybody who likes books about nature, the natural world, this is a memoir. It is What Sheep Think About the Weather, how to listen to what animals are trying to say. And it's a memoir that is wrapped up in facts and stories about the natural world. And it started with a hummingbird who was dive bombing author Amelia Thomas over her morning coffee, and a pair of piglets who would not stay put. Soon, Amelia, who's a journalist and a new farmer, began to question the communications of the creatures all around her pigs, her dogs, the pheasant family, even the earwigs in the farm's dark corners. So, driven by her lifelong curiosity, she embarked on a journey to uncover what animals truly seek to say to humans. She brings us to meet groundbreaking chimps, octopuses, and then she brings in an incredible cast of expert animal behaviorists and anthrozoologists to talk about what these animal behaviors are telling us. I love books about the natural world. I loved the writing in this. It was very approachable. And this is another one that is just a fantastic gift book to give to, really, I like gift books that would be welcomed by many types of readers. And this one, for anybody who's interested in science and nature and animals specifically, or memoirs, are really going to enjoy this book. What Sheep Think About the Weather, How to Listen to What Animals Are Trying to Say. And that is my first one, my first last one.
I have a copy of that one, and I think I might pass it along to my husband. It sounds like something he might enjoy.
I think your husband would very much enjoy this book.
And I love books about animals, so I'm going to move this one up the list as well.
Fabulous. And my last one is historic. It is Canticle, a novel by Janet Rich Edwards. This is a debut that explores faith, agency, love, all set in 13th century. Elise is 16 years old. She's stubborn, bright, and prone to religious visions. Her father promises her in marriage to a merchant she doesn't love. I think that was pretty standard for that time, but this causes her to run away from home, and she takes shelter in a community of religious women who refuse to answer to the church. I think there's a past me that maybe might have been one of those women. So here she's living among these hardworking and strong-willed women. She glimpses for the first time the joys of belonging, a life of song, meaning, and friendship. But there are forces that are mystical and political that are coming into play. And this book just really gives a really deep look into the little told stories of medieval women, the mystics, the saints, the incresses, and beguines, and introducing a major new talent in this author. This is just a beautiful work of historic fiction that vividly evokes a world that's on the verge of transformation.
Mary, it's great that you started with The Bog Queen and ended with Canticle, because they're both books of historical fiction that deal with women who did not leave a lot of information behind about their lives because they either weren't able to write or they didn't have access to the materials to do that.
What a great connection, Pamela.
I agree. I like that. And it's a Spiegel and Grau title, right? And I just feel like they hit it out of the park with their books.
They are nailing it. And next year, they are publishing the new Catherine Stockett, and she has not had a new publication since The Help. So this is going to be a very big deal.
I just hosted Bruce Holsinger for Culpability, which they also published, and it was really interesting to hear his experiences with them and how wonderful he thought they were. And I'm so excited for the Catherine Stockett book.
They are. I had the pleasure of visiting their offices in New York, and what an amazing team. I was just very impressed with the whole operation, and I have really enjoyed the works that I've read from Spiegel and Grau. I think that they are on fire.
Agree.
They so carefully curate their titles, and that really comes through in the books they choose to publish. And I just, I have to say before we wrap up that Pamela and I are both reading well into the spring, and the spring publishing world is on fire. There are so many incredible books coming out next spring.
February is going to melt the snow here in Minnesota. It is hot, hot, hot. Oh my gosh. Every time I turn around, I get another incredible novel that's coming out in February.
I'm really excited because I agree. The books I have read so far for that time period are phenomenal. And then, Pamela, you also wanted to shout out Buckeye.
I did. This is one you can get your hands on right now. And I would say it's sitting on bookstore and library shelves now, but it probably is not on your library shelf because it is so popular. I know our library has a huge long wait list for it. So you're probably going to have to run up to the bookstore and get a copy of Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. takes place in, obviously, Ohio, the Buckeye State. And it's a gorgeous story about parents and children, mothers and sons, husbands, fathers and sons, World War II, Vietnam, a mystic. And I was so enchanted with these characters and so heartbroken when the book finished because I had to part ways with them. I listened to the audiobook, and Michael Crouch does a brilliant narration. It was just gorgeous. Ugh, book clubs are going to love it. I think, was this a Jenna pick? It was one of the celebrity book clubs. I think it was Jenna. And it's just astounding. It's definitely on my list of one of my top picks for 2025. And I hadn't had a chance to read it the last time we got together for the podcast. And so I just want to make sure we put it on everybody's radar if it wasn't already.
I agree. Buckeye was just a beautiful story of how one moment in time can reverberate for decades. And it really gave such a beautiful look at that small Midwestern town life. I loved it as well.
I agree. And I listened to it as well, Pamela, so I'm glad you mentioned that. I thought the audiobook was fantastic.
Oh, it really was. I hope he wins an award. It was an excellent production.
Definitely. Well, as always, thank you both. And I say this every single time, but I have added so many books to my list, which is the whole reason I have you guys on. But thank you for that.
Thank you for having us again, Cindy. It's always a pleasure to talk books with you and Mary. And this is an absolute delight. I hope it gets people some great ideas for their holiday gift giving for both friends, family, and themselves.
I loved being here as well. And I just love all of our conversations around books and being able to remind people and bring these books to new readers and then remind them that books make great gifts. So, if you find a copy that you love, pick up 2.
Well, thank y'all again, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I would love to connect with you on Instagram or Facebook, where you can find me at Thoughts from a Page. If you enjoy the show and have a moment to rate it or subscribe to it wherever you listen to your podcasts, I would really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference. And please tell all of your friends about Thoughts from a Page. Word of mouth does wonders to help the show grow. I hope you'll tune in next time.